Hi everyone, new video today. Life has been very busy, and given the current social climate in America, I've just been getting triggered and bothered by things, and sometimes I think I need to just collect myself before filming things, which is what I did, and now I'm here. And no, I'm not going to get all political in this post, but I'm going to basically give my perspectives on how family separation has affected me. I know I hint at this a lot in my videos. I mean, my videos are rooted in the fact that adoption is trauma and there's loss, and this is how life is for us. But I don't think I've ever really addressed this topic as head-on as I'm going to now. There are so many different layers to this, and now that I'm thinking about it, I have no idea how long this video is going to end up being, or if I need to do multiple parts to it. But it's really complicated explaining grief and trauma to someone, because they look at me and they think, well, she was with her biological family for less than 24 hours. She has no memory of a foster family, and all she's ever known is this loving, supportive adoptive family. So how can she even be speaking about these complexities, the negatives to adoption, and grief? And honestly, I'm not sure how to explain it. Basically, not knowing where you came from is this deep internal pain. And it's not like I'm depressed. It's not like every morning I wake up and I'm instantly in tears because I don't know my biological family. It's just like a constant ache in you. And I know this is going to sound all metaphorical and stuff, and as a biologist, I'm aware that human anatomy is what it is, but it really does feel like there's a hole in your heart. There are times where I look in the mirror and I'm like, man, where did I get my features from? I haven't met anyone else who looks like me yet. And you wonder how, among the billions of people on this earth, you are so alone. Yeah, I have the best adoptive family. I will say that over and over and over again. To the adoptees who get mad at me because I say, yeah, I love my adoptive family, I lucked out with them, I don't know what else to say. They've been supportive. They got me through school debt-free. Now I'm getting my PhD. I really have no complaints. But even with all of that love and support, you still feel so alone. And nothing can fix that except knowing your biological family and knowing that you aren't actually alone. As you know, I've done my 23andMe and Ancestry DNA, and then I uploaded that to other sites. And I also know I was going to do a Ancestry follow-up video, but honestly, my results were so lacking that there's no point. The ethnicity part told me that I was Asian, thanks. And the relatives part gave me only fifth to distant cousins. So basically, you look at your DNA results, and you look at the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of distant cousins you have, and you think about all the billions of people in the world, and you're like, how did I not match with any of them? And I say this all the time. Adoptees might have other analogies for it, but it literally feels like I was just placed on the earth by something. It feels like I don't actually have a biological family and I was just put here. The idea of a biological family is so abstract to me. The fact that I can feel all of those things without even knowing who they are really should tell you what family separation does. The fact that I have such a great support system in my life should tell you what family separation does. There's no way to explain it. You think about not being connected with your biological family, and honestly, the first thing that comes into my mind is just like, What the f-? This is not fair. How can I not know who they are? And how do I not have the rights to know who they are? And there's always this constant pain. There's always this constant wondering, no matter how great your adoptive life is now. And even if you're in the fog, you're still wondering like where you came from. Why were you relinquished? What would have happened if you were still with your biological family? So one of the reasons I've been getting so bothered and so triggered, especially this week, is because every person in America right now is talking about how traumatic family separation is. And everyone in the adoption community is like, hello, where were you before? We've been telling you that family separation is traumatic. And I know everyone watching this video and all of my subscribers are on the same page as me. You are already aware that family separation is traumatic, and that's exactly why you're watching this video right now. If you see people out of the blue talking about how family separation is traumatic, but 2 weeks ago they were arguing about how a failed adoption is such a tragedy, maybe you should have a conversation with them and say, hey, why is this situation different? Is it because you can't be the savior in this narrative? Is it because you're not seeing babies relinquished by birth families? What makes these situations different? Family separation is family separation, and trauma is trauma. That's it. But coming back from my tangent just there, the grief and the trauma that I experience isn't debilitating. Some days are obviously harder than others. Birthdays and adoption days are always going to be super confusing to me. Acknowledging that there's grief and trauma with adoption is not ignoring the positives. It's not being ungrateful. It's not saying that you want to be with your biological family. It's just saying that it's there and you have to face it. This is part of the reason why I think that every adoptee is sort of out of the fog. I have yet to meet an adoptee who hasn't wondered where they came from or wondered what their life would be like with their biological family. I have yet to meet an adoptee who said, my adoption has 100% been positive. I know I use the term in the fog and out of the fog a lot, and that's really only because it's the simplest and fastest way for me to explain acknowledging all of the complexities. I think that the term is starting to be used to kind of divide adoptees, as in, oh, they had a positive story and that's all they seem to want to talk about. Like, they must be in the fog. Oh, that's so annoying. It's so hard to talk to them. Maybe they're just not sharing with you the negative parts of their adoption. Maybe they don't want to open up and be vulnerable to you. That is something else to consider. Maybe every adoptee is out of the fog, whatever that means to them, because it's also dependent on how much information you've been given. And validating adoptees' perspectives who are in the fog is very important, because, I mean, some would say that I was in the fog, but really, I was out of the fog when I was alone, and I would pretend to be in the fog when I was everywhere else, because I was afraid of being called ungrateful. I was afraid that people would start asking me hard questions. So I kept all of those feelings hidden, and I didn't talk about them. And to most people who knew me, they would have defined me as in the fog. But I was very aware of my grief and the trauma of family separation. I guess the moral of the story is, you can take me, for example. And if people want to argue that foster care and adopting out children is in their best interest, one, I obviously don't mean all cases. There's always going to be exceptions. So when I speak on my videos and blog posts, I don't think I need to say not all, okay? Let's just remember that. but I have no memory of my biological family. I do not know who they are. I probably will never know who they are. I had a very loving foster family, and I have an incredible adoptive family. I am getting married soon. I have the cutest dog in the whole world. I'm working on my PhD, and I really don't have many complaints in life. Despite all of that, I still experience family separation trauma, and I still have grief. I still feel alone. I still have no idea who my close relatives are, my biological close relatives, and I'm not sure I'm ever going to know who they are. The grief and trauma are going to manifest themselves in different ways in different people. But you have to acknowledge it. You cannot ignore it. That is the absolute worst thing that you could do. So that is how I'm going to end the video. Yeah. I hope you liked it, and I hope you found it relevant. And if you found it helpful, I would highly suggest sharing it, because that helps me, and I think it also is going to help a lot of people who seem to be a little confused about what family separation does. So, as always, the subscribe button is somewhere over here, and then my face pops up at the end, and you can click that and subscribe too. There's a like button, which really helps, and my comments are open. You can email me. Thank you so much for watching. I've been connecting more and more with people in the adoption community, and it just feels awesome finally having people who validate my experience, and I can connect with them, and I'm finally with people who really understand what it's like to be an adoptee. So, I mean, that's why I make these videos, so we can all start speaking up and connecting with each other. But yeah, I hope you liked it, and I will see you next time.